This is part 2 of the fish AI. This covers predator fish. They can do everything that passive fish can do, but also attack others using an advanced food chain system. They use animations to attack, and it differs based on the sizes. There is also health and regeneration. Here is some anglerfish. They will attack the koi when spawned in. They will also attack seal since it is below in the food chain. There is a blood particle spawned when bitten. There is also the option for fishes to attack their own species, such as shown here. The anglerfish will attack each other. Here are medium-sized predators. This is a shark. It will eat whitefish whole since they are small. However, for tuna it will attack/bite it instead. You can add any other type of fish with the same functionality as shown. The fish all have advanced interaction with the player as well as vehicles, which include boats and submarines. Unlike passive fish, predator fish can also attack the player in addition to ignoring, following, or fleeing. Anglerfish will attack the player. Swordfish will also attack the player. Dolphins, however, will not, as they are set to follow the player instead of attack. You can easily set up how they interact. Here is a megalodon fighting a whale. Although large fish are buggy, and so is only here as a framework or proof of concept. A default spawner was shown in the last video, but I have added a pod/group spawner as a project files exclusive. In these, fish will spawn in dedicated groups and swim together. They will also surface swim together. It is for fish like dolphins and orcas, but you can do it for any you want. Here is a dolphin pod in game. The squid from the previous video will now shoot ink when it detects predators, and it will temporarily blind them. The player will also be blinded. Medium fish can be set to devour the player. This is where they will eat the player whole with this cool animation and game over screen. Sharks and crocodiles can do this, but you can set any of them to, although it must be a medium fish with a big enough jaw size. The player is eaten head or leg first based on the direction they were facing. The project files include a variety of extra exclusive fish examples. First is the stingray. They will deal less direct damage but will poison prey and fish, which deals damage over time. There is also green screen damage for the player. Next is swordfish. They do not have any extra features. Next is dolphins. Dolphins will follow the player. They will also regularly swim to the surface and jump out of water. Dolphins need oxygen as well, so when they surface for it, water will shoot out of the blowhole, although the particle is a placeholder. Next is crocodiles. A quick note is that these look a bit funny since there is no procedural leaning. As already shown, they can devour the player. Next are orcas or killer whales. These, like dolphins, usually work in pods, and they also will surface to breathe. Orcas can devour the player too. Next is megalodons. This is a large fish, so is buggy, and is there as a framework. Here it eats multiple swordfish at once. Finally is this Parasitus colossus, which is a prehistoric creature. Here it fights the megalodon. Finally I added boat interaction so fish can follow boats as well as submarines now. Due to the nature of the plugin and methods used, the AI is not 100% smooth, so this should be treated more as a framework to build upon as opposed to a complete and ready mechanic. The predator fish is buggy for large fish such as the megalodon and Parasitus colossus. It was difficult to get them exact like with smaller and medium fish. This video is part 2 of the fish AI, and the previous video covers passive fish and the main fish setup. You must have followed along for that for this video. First, open the species enum and add the new predator fish to it. I will add 4 for now in different orders. They will only be able to attack fish below them in the fish chain or of the same type if set. Add as many fish as you want, and you can always adjust this later. Now I will show an important modification required for the models. First, in the material, I added this opacity setting off camera. The material domain needs to be masked so it is still PBR, but we can fade it out on death. You can pause and copy this. It also fades the fish out if the camera is too close to fix clipping. Now open the skeletal mesh. I will use this tuna to showcase. Make the bones visible by default. Add a new socket where the mouth is called jaw socket. Then for each fish, make sure the physics asset is as accurate as possible. Some fish will have very accurate ones automatically on import, depending on the imported file type such as GLB. This dace had an accurate one, for example, while the tuna I had to modify manually. I did the same for all the other fish I have off camera. I will now show some quick project settings and changes I did off camera since the passive fish. I made a new object channel called fish channel with default response as ignore. Then I made 2 new trace channels called fish and biteable. This is important since we use traces to detect prey. Then in presets, I made 3 types for small, medium, and large fish. You can pause and copy the exact settings I used here. Small fish will not be able to push anything and is for fish like koi and anglerfish. Medium fish can push just the player but not submarines and are for fish like seal and sharks. Large fish will push the player and non-large submarines and are for fish like whales and megalodons. Then in the master fish actor, I added this code to the begin play. This might be a little complicated without showing it in real time, so I can help in the comments if you need. This uses an enum with values of small, medium, and large to set the collision preset of the fish on begin play based on what that fish is set to. We need to modify the enums now. In detected site priority, add one called prey. In player interaction type, add one called attack so the player can be attacked. Modify death type to contain the values sink pushable, sink static, rise pushable, and rise static. This determines whether it sinks or rises and if it can be pushed or not by other objects. Now make a new structure called dead fish variables. Add the shown variables and make sure to set the variable type exactly. Now open the fish BPI. Add a function called getFishSize which returns the fish size enum, which again just contains values of small, medium and large. Then make one called getClosestPoint on fish with the shown inputs and outputs. Next make ones for deplete and regenerate health. Finally is eaten whole. The inputs and outputs will be explained when used in the actual code. That is all for the BPI. Now go to the global function library. You can make a new one if you don't have one. Make a new function called clamp to water. It will have a vector input, an object input and a float input. The output should be a vector. Copy the code shown. This checks if the position input vector is below or above the water level, which is determined by a variable in the sea path volume. This clamps the position to be below the water if above by setting it to the water level. An offset is subtracted if we want the fish to remain underwater, but if it is set to 0 the fish will remain halfway, so we can create things like shark fins above water. Swap these two in the greater than here as it was incorrect. Now for some quick player modifications. Open player stats and go to update stat. Player stats was also created in an earlier video, so if you did not follow those along you can just use your own player health system. Add the shown code after this reroute. This calls on drown if the player was killed underwater by a fish. I will add a new interface event called bitten in the interaction BPI, which I made earlier in the water series. It should have a float input. Now in the character blueprint add the event and call update stat for the heath using player stats. Finally, select the character mesh. Change the collision preset to custom and set the response of biteable to true so the player can actually be detected by the trace. Next I will make a very simple blood particle. This is a basic looking placeholder one, so you should use a proper one if you have one. The only requirement is that the radius of it needs to be controlled by a parameter. Otherwise you can just adjust the code to scale the entire particle. Add an omnidirectional burst one. I will speed this part up since it's just a placeholder. In shape location, I used a parameter for the sphere radius. This is needed since different sized fishes will spawn different sized blood when bitten or eaten. Here you can see the blood. Then add event deplete health and copy the code shown. Make sure to set instance editable and expose on spawn to true for the 3 new variables we made. This subtracts from the health. If dead, we will stop the AI perception. I will use a simple timeline going from 0 to 1 to fade the fish out if dead by setting the opacity value which I showed in the master material of the fish. This gets the closest point on the fish from where it was bitten and spawns the blood particle there, scaling it to match the jaw size of the fish that bit it but also clamped so it is not bigger than the actual fish. For example, if an orca bites a shark, the blood particle will be the size of the orca's jaw, but since that is bigger than the actual shark it will be clamped instead to the shark's max radius size. shown. This will ensure dead fish are detected in the attack trace and that they aren't pushed by fish when being attacked. Now we can start with the master fish actor. Open it. You will have some errors due to the changes from dead actor. I will just disconnect the nodes for now. First add a sphere collision to the fish skeletal mesh called jaw trace. Then make one called accurate jaw trace. Set the parent sockets to jaw socket. Set the default value of accurate jaw trace's radius to match the jaw size of the fish. This will be changed for each fish in the child blueprint made for it. Now go to the construction script and copy the shown code. This attaches the jaw trace to jaw socket, then sets the radius to be double the fish's capsule radius. Then attach accurate jaw trace. Now delete the shown variables. I will now create all the new required variables so it is easier to follow along with all the variables already there. Make sure to copy them exactly as I create, especially the variable types. I will also categorize the variables so everything is organized. I will slightly speed this part up since it's a lot of typing, but if it is too fast you can either pause or slow the video down for this part. Copy the shown code. This setup makes it so small fish will attack other small and medium fish but do nothing against large. You can adjust the setup to your liking, as I am not a fish expert and cannot make it fit for every type of fish AI. Medium fish will eat small fish whole and attack medium and large. Large fish will eat small and medium fish whole and attack other large ones. This depletes health of the target fish if just attacked. The amount is randomly selected between the X and Y values of the attack damage vector 2D. Currently traced actors is used here, so a fish will only be detected once per bite. This regenerates health for the fish that bit or ate. The select here is used so smaller fish regenerate less. This is to check if the detected actor was the player. Make a custom event called Flea Predator and copy the code. This is similar to the Flea player code we added last video. Then make one called Launch Forward. This part moves the fish towards the target bite location, so it doesn't rely on the randomness of the plugin but actually moves to the location for more accuracy. Adjust the factor at the start of chase prey as shown. Because the jaw to origin distance will be a lot smaller for smaller fish like koi and anglerfish, the multiplier needs to be increased so it can actually attack when close enough. Modify this part as shown too, as it is more accurate. Now add event eaten whole. Here I will show the alternative to spawning blood all around the fish instead of just the origin. This spawns 6 blood particles at random positions on the fish. You can change it to however many you want. You can copy this over to the dead fish actors event eaten whole. Now make an event called manual vision trace. This will use traces to detect nearby fish instead of relying on the AI perception. On death we set the current health back to the max with a multiplier. This makes it longer for dead fish to despawn since other fish can eat it for longer if not eaten whole. Make a struct for the dead variables and copy the shown setup. Make sure to set spawned mesh here. Next go to the patrol event. Add-in is valid here to prevent bugs. Then go to react to noise. The value being subtracted here can be scaled based on the fish size for better accuracy. Now open Find Side Priority. This whole setup only works well for passive fish, so we will rewrite it completely. Copy the shown code. This first pass checks that the detected fish are fairly inside of the fish by checking the dot product / angle between them. Something like 0.5 might be too low, so you can increase it, since I think fish have 180 degrees vision, or at least for a game you can make it unrealistic if it means it will function better. This second pass is to detect if the fish is a prey or predator, with predators having higher priority. This means a fish will prioritize fleeing a predator over hunting a prey. Make the changes shown. Disconnect the pin here. It was a bit buggy using this method, but you can modify and test it to see if there are better approaches, since the alternative I used was event tick, which is definitely performance effective. Delete the code in on target side perception updated and copy the new one. Make new variables called last heard volume and use hearing of float and boolean types respectively. I will use an event tick now to set the side priority. As I just mentioned, this is performance effective and it was actually noticeable at times, so this is more of a proof of concept. I highly urge to try different methods such as using the perception updated events, which I will try off camera. Fill in the event, which is almost the same as toggle side perception but for hearing. Now for the final changes. Open the fish follow actor task for the behavior tree. Make the shown changes. Also make sure to go through all other fish you have and set the max health as well as regeneration points. I will add the shark to the level and set the references. I will also add a koi to test the predator functions. I will now quickly show the main features as the system is complete. You can see here the shark will try to attack the koi when it detects. The shark will then attack the player. It is not the most accurate or smooth as mentioned in the disclaimer, but it is the best I could manage with the plugin and methods used. Also, I like to think of the bugs as features here, as fish are unpredictable. Here is a seal which is also medium. This time the shark will not eat it whole but attack. You can see the blood particles spawning. When the corpse runs out of health, it will fade out. The shark will attack the seal here instead of the dace since it is higher up in the food chain. I did an anglerfish off camera, which is a small sized predator fish. The model was from Sketchfab again by this user. The anglerfish will attack the koi. Here are multiple sharks, but they will not attack each other since attack same species is disabled for them. Anglerfish however will attack each other. Here is an anglerfish with a squid, but it will not attack since squid is higher in the food chain even though it is a passive fish. Here is an anglerfish attacking the player like the shark did, but it deals a lot less damage. An anglerfish will try to flee from sharks since it is lower in the food chain. I did the large fish off camera. Here is a megalodon eating multiple koi at once. Here the megalodon eats the shark. Here is a Perseus colossus attacking and killing a whale. Like I mentioned at the start, large fish predators do not work that well, so this is the best I could do. That is all for this video. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more content. You can purchase this final result from Gumroad using the link in the description if you want. The project files will include exclusive features which include everything from the passive fish, pod spawner, player being devoured, stingrays, anglerfish, swordfish, dolphins, crocodiles, orcas, megalodons, and Perseus colossuses. The project files also come with a realistic island example, including a night scene. The swimming and oxygen system is also included. Thanks for watching.